The New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
So everything is falling down for you guys because people perceive you as bullies.
Blake Lively's own lawyer just walked off the case because even he couldn't stomach the humiliation anymore. Justin Baldoni's legal team dropped evidence so vicious, Blake's side basically had to rethink their entire existence.
We actually want all evidence to come out that's proper and appropriate evidence.
1 second Blake's sobbing in the spotlight, the next her defense team bolts like rats off a burning ship. And let's be clear, when your own lawyer decides you're not worth the headache, that's not a case anymore. That's a funeral.
I have to be a full-blown, I am sorry, I lied, I am a terrible person, tail in between the legs, and that's what...
Picture this. You file the dumbest lawsuit imaginable, paint yourself as the helpless victim, spin the media into a pity parade, and then your lawyer bails mid-case. That's exactly what Merle Conan did after Justin Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman torched Blake's claims with a brutal takedown that no PR wizard alive could scrub. Honestly, no one blames him. Her case was already sinking like the Titanic, and Conan wasn't about to drown with it.
Kind of had her down to a prototype and said, I'm going to pump the brakes and see what happens. And then when Brian Friedman came back with the facts, they were just undeniable. You know, it was undeniable.
And then came the real bloodbath. Baldoni's team casually unleashed 170 pages of raw, unfiltered receipts. Not a handful of texts, not a vague, he said, she said. A full dossier of emails, messages, and proof that shredded Blake's entire story into confetti.
Then they publish 170 pages of perfectly documented texts and emails between all the parties that basically show Blake to be the aggressor. Here's the proof.
Every claim Blake tossed out, gone. Shredded one by one until there was nothing left but dust. Watching her legal team scramble after that takedown was pure comedy gold.
That's the whole point of a lawsuit, is you just start with allegations, and allegations are not evidence. They're just statements of fact that help establish this is the claim that I'm bringing.
Now her PR machine, they're flatlining. The same people who once spoon-fed the press-glossy victim narratives are in full meltdown mode. You can practically hear the panic echoing through their office halls.
You guys were complicit here. You guys were involved in this every step of the way.
Those puff pieces, dead on arrival. The second the receipts hit, mainstream media went silent. Even Hollywood insiders are whispering the same thing. It's over. Blake's spiraling, and not a soul is stepping in to catch her.
It was monstrous what she did, and she's got to pay for it.
Live birth porn.
Millions in lawsuits now hang over Blake like a wrecking ball. And the punchline? Her own team finally gets it. She's got zero shot at winning this circus act.
Most people cannot afford, even if he was worth a certain amount, cannot afford $100 million. And then when you attach penalties and you add interest and all of these things, it is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare for them.
Which brings us to Merle Conan, the lawyer who likely woke up, skimmed the wreckage, and thought, yeah, I'm not torching my career for this disaster. And who could blame her? From the start, Blake's case wasn't law, it was illusion. Smoke, mirrors, and a side of delusion.
I knew a bit about her. I knew how she grew up. I knew that she kind of was one of these people. What tends to be the case is that when you grow up with everything, you create things out of nothing because you're looking for struggle in your life and you're used to getting whatever it is that you want.
No credible harassment evidence. No body-shaming documents. Not a single scrap proving the breastfeeding drama. Just loud, teary accusations with zero receipts. It's like Blake dusted off an old Gossip Girl script and forgot the courtroom doesn't run on fiction. Brian Friedman didn't just file an opposition, he nuked her entire case with actual evidence. What Blake's team offered wasn't proof. It was PR spin, headlines, and one long, desperate sob story.
I looked through every document, every email, every text message.
When the opposition comes swinging with cold, hard facts, even Blake's lawyer knew the ending. This ship was sinking fast. Quitting wasn't betrayal, it was survival. But here's the kicker. The juiciest meltdown wasn't legal. It was PR. Blake's team actually thought they could pull off the ultimate smoke and mirrors routine.
Filing is pure comedy and insanity. It literally contradicts itself, and it's not even admissible because of certain things that are in there.
Remember that infamous New York Times piece from December 2024? The one that painted Baldoni as the monster while crowning Blake the fragile victim? Yeah, that was no accident. Her PR team shoved that story down the pipeline like their lives depended on it. But fast forward, and Baldoni's lawyers ripped it apart, exposing how the Times swallowed her narrative without so much as a fact check.
And it really was quite horrific because you just go, what kind of a monster even goes through with this CRD filing? Like, they're basically bullying him again in the lawsuit.
Now that same PR squad who thought they were puppet masters, they're in full-blown panic. And here's the plot twist. Blake's image maker-in-chief, Leslie Sloan, isn't just spinning headlines anymore. She's listed as a defendant in Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit.
No, Justin Baldoni is suing him, Blake Lively, and their PR person, Leslie Sloan, for $400 million.
That's right, the very team hired to save Blake's reputation is now radioactive in court. How spectacularly do you have to fail for your PR reps to become legal liabilities? And it gets worse. With discovery in motion, every shady text, every backroom scheme, every carefully scripted puff piece is sitting in a file waiting to go public. Baldoni's team isn't negotiating, they're detonating. And Blake's camp? The harder they try to contain it, the louder it explodes.
It looks as though she's a narcissist, like an actual diagnosed narcissist.
The funniest part? Blake's team wasted months trying to control the headlines, convinced they were untouchable. But courts don't run on spin. They run on evidence. And Blake doesn't have any. Her lawyer knows it. Her PR team knows it. Hollywood knows it. Hell, the public knows it. All that's left is Blake, standing in the wreckage, watching her story disintegrate in real time.
I believe Blake Lively is that, but again, you can clearly see, in my opinion, the narcissism at bare minimum that's going on with her.
Here's the tragic comedy. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has told Blake it's over. Her lawyer quit. The media's gone mute. Insiders are whispering she's finished. Even her PR team looks ready to jump ship and start new careers. But Blake? She's still acting like she's got a chance. At this point, the only believer left is Blake herself.
Yeah. And again, at the same time, Nathan assembled a team that could dominate social media through full social account takedowns by starting threads of theories and,
Hold that thought.
here we go, generally working to change the narrative. So it's impossible to know how much they planted and how much of it originated organically. Well, wait a minute.
She's clinging to this lawsuit like it's her last weapon, when in reality, it's the anchor dragging her under. Hollywood doesn't waste time on a star who tried to game the system, got exposed, and now wants sympathy after the whole scheme blew up in her face.
Where this money is. This is it. Like, who has the cash for this type of lawsuit?
And let's be clear, this implosion wasn't instant. It was months in the making. Media manipulation, desperate PR stunts, reckless legal strategies. But the moment Brian Friedman dropped the receipts, the whole illusion collapsed like a house of cards in a wind tunnel.
Every uncomfortable moment we felt it. Well, now they could do the same thing. You know, but
Right.
Brian Friedman could say, here, exactly. Okay, you want to do a settlement? Here it is. We're going to write, you are sick people who tried to take over my movie and crush a little peanut like me just because I'm a man bun wearing, soft, beautiful soul.
And for a hot second, Blake really thought she had the press eating out of her hand. That glossy New York Times spread, titled like a Hollywood hit piece, made her feel untouchable. It framed every wild accusation against Baldoni as scripture, practically canonizing her as the ultimate victim. But fairy tales don't hold up in court. And Blake's came crashing down the moment facts walked in.
Skinned outraged, essentially, over us bullying you. That doesn't make you look good on paper. It doesn't make you look good in the court of public opinion. It makes you look like what you actually are, which are a bunch of bullies who think can get away with everything.
Brian Friedman didn't show up to play games. His legal response didn't just poke holes in the Times puff piece, it ripped it to shreds. He flat out accused the paper of violating fair report privilege, which in plain English means they stopped reporting and started campaigning. Instead of saying, Blake alleges XYZ, they packaged her fantasies like verified facts. With zero evidence. Friedman called it out for what it was, propaganda disguised as journalism. Poetic justice.
Used to replace what his name is Brian Tyler, the composer on the movie. Well, Taylor Swift is not going to give you this unless we get what we want. She wants this credit. She wants this credit. She wants her edit.
The Times is sweating bullets, terrified they'll be dragged deeper into this circus. Judge Lyman even hinted at tossing them out of the case entirely, basically signaling their so-called masterpiece was trash. For Blake, that's catastrophic. The Times was her safety net, her PR shield, her ace card. If it falls, she's left naked in the storm. No headlines, no sympathy, just cold courtroom reality.
There's a lot of factual determinations that need to be made here, not legal determinations. And because there's factual determinations, you got to leave it to the jury. You got to give a jury the property.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're just saying, look, just let the facts decide. And the trier of fact in any case is going to be the jury. Unless it's a bench trial, then it's a judge. But this is not. This is a jury trial.
Even Lady C and Hollywood's loudest critics have stopped pretending. They're dragging Blake and the Times for trampling journalistic ethics. PR spin is one thing. Using one of the most powerful newspapers in the world as your personal megaphone for lies? That's a scandal all on its own.
Making a factual assertion that these people did something, seizing on it and amplifying it.
And Lady C didn't hold back. She called the entire media circus Blake's propaganda machine. But thanks to Friedman's receipts, that shield is gone. The Times is exposed. Blake's defenses are in ruins. And the only person buried by her smear campaign is Blake herself.
5 other claims. He's got extortion, he's got false light, and everything immediately falls apart there. But I'm saying even that was ill-advisable. I would not have said, quote unquote, hurt feelings and saying, like, they're basically bullying him again in the law.
But just when you think the meltdown couldn't get any juicier, her new lawyer casually threw her under the bus. In official court filings, Blake's own defense admitted she has profound mental health issues.
Blake Lively fears profound mental health issues are at risk of being leaked amid Justin Baldoni legal drama.
Yes, you read that right. Her own lawyer basically diagnosed her on the record. Instead of defending her claims, they handed the court a confession. And honestly, nobody's shocked anymore.
It's just almost unbelievable that her lawyer would file this. I don't understand why he would put this out there. It's just very bizarre. There's a lot of things that he could have talked about.
Now, her team is scrambling, begging for an attorney's eyes-only protective order. Translation: please don't let the public see how ugly this gets. They're desperate to bury the details about her mental health and security. But if Blake's case is so innocent, why fight so hard to keep it sealed?